we want to get the domain of this function here. Now, first thing I notice is I've got a square root and a fraction. Okay, so fractions, we don't want 0 in the denominator, and we don't want negative numbers under the radical. So first up, I know this for sure, that 14 plus x has to be greater than or equal to 0. All right, that's another way. Okay, it's not less than 0. Okay, another way of saying it. Now, I don't want it to be 0 because I don't want 0 down here, right? I don't want this. I don't want to get the square root of 0 because that's 0, right? I don't want that. So we're going to take this out. So just remove that part, and we will have this. That 14 plus x has to be strictly greater than 0. And then if I subtract that 14, I'll get x is strictly greater than 14. Negative 14, right? Negative 14. I'm subtracting 14. So I could write it like this for the domain, or I think what they have in mind is this. I'll write it up here. The domain of this function is going to be, they want interval notation, so we're going to go from negative 14 out to infinity, right, because x is greater than negative 14, so it doesn't include 14. So open parentheses here, and then it keeps on going. There's the domain. So let's try to solve this. This is called a continued or compound inequality, and I still want to solve it for x, so I am going to eliminate the 4. So the plan is to, let's subtract 4. Now you subtract it from all three sides. So subtract it here, here, I said 3. 4 minus 4 minus 4. So, where are we? Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5. That's less than or equal to x, which is strictly less than, got to pay attention to those signs there, 4 minus 5. Now 4 minus 4 is 0, it's gone, that's how we did it. But then 5 minus 4 is a 1. Okay, this right here, this is called inequality. That's inequality notation. But they're telling us, as you can see up here, write interval notation. So where are we going from? We're going from negative 5 to 1, right? It always goes like this. Lower bound, comma, upper bound. Lower to upper. Now, the negative 5 is included, right, because of that equal sign right there. So because it's included, I'll indicate that with a square bracket. The 1, that's a strict inequality. The 1 is not included, so we will put a parentheses around there. All right, so that's what we want. And then we can graph this. Let's just do this. Here's our x number line. Negative 5 is included, so I'll just pick some point, negative 5, put a closed circle to indicate it's included. And then I'll put an open circle around 1. Open circle says it's not included. And then it's just everything in here. So any number that you pick in here, pick any number in here, put it back in for x, and add 4, you'll get a number between negative 1 and 5. Let's solve this. Now this is almost the same as number 7, just some different numbers. I think what I'm going to do is subtract 3, right, to isolate the x. So the plan is to subtract 3. So we will get, what do you get here? Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7. Now that's less than or equal to x. 3 minus 3 is gone. Less than or equal to now 2 minus 3 is negative 1. Okay, there's the solution in interval notation. They don't want inequality notation. This is inequality notation. We want interval notation. So here's how we're doing this. We're going from negative 7 to negative 1, right? Lower bound on the left, comma, upper bound on the right, and equal signs. So both the negative 7 and the negative 1 are included. So square brackets. Okay, here's our answer here. And if we graph it, okay, there's our x's. We're going from negative 7 included, closed circle, to negative 1 included, closed circle, and everything in between. Okay, to solve this one, what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate the 4 and then the negative 2. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract that 4, right? We're subtracting that 4. So negative 4 minus 4 is negative 8. That's going to be less than or equal to the negative 2x. And then 12 minus 4 is an 8. So that's strictly less than 8. Now, divide by negative 2. But alert, right, we're dividing by a negative. So when you divide by a negative, the directions of these inequality symbols reverse. So we are going to get, I'll write it here. Negative 8 divided by negative 2 is now greater than or equal to x, which is now greater than 8 divided by negative 2. So this gives us negative over negative is positive. 4 is greater than or equal to x, which is strictly greater than positive divided by negative is negative 4. All right, now this is okay, but it's awkward because you're trying to think of what number is x. And now you're told that, well, 4 is bigger than x, which is bigger than negative 4. It's just awkward. We like to go from smaller to larger. So here's what you can do. You can just turn this whole thing around. It's just like you pick it up and flip it over. All right, now when you do that, everything gets reversed, so it now looks like this. It now looks like negative 4 strictly less than x less than or equal to positive 4. All right, so all I did is I just picked this thing up, flipped it over. All right, so this came over here, this one came over here. The negative 4 came over, positive 4 came over. Now this is okay, but this is inequality form. They're asking us to write interval form. So interval form, we know, does this. It goes from low to high. Right now the low here is negative 4, comma, the high is positive 4, and the negative 4, all right, strict inequality is not included, so parentheses. Then over here with the 4, the equal sign's there, so the 4 is actually included, so we put a square bracket to indicate that, right? So this is actually the interval form. And to graph it, we're going to go from negative 4 open to positive 4 closed and everything in between. So we're going to solve and graph this, and the first thing you can't help but notice, you've got a fraction. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to eliminate the fraction. Right? So my plan is to eliminate the fraction. So I can do that by getting the LCD. So look at all the denominators. Now it turns out there's only one denominator, and it's 4. So the LCD here is 4. So I'm going to multiply all 3 parts by 4. All right, it'll look like this. Now, multiply, so alert, I'm multiplying by a positive, so no problem. The only time I have to worry about is if I multiply by a negative, then I switch the directions of those inequality signs. But we're multiplying by a positive. So here's what I'm going to have. I'll have 4 times that negative 2. That's going to be less than, all right, I'll go ahead and write it this time. 4 times 1 over 4, 2m plus 6, close, less than or equal to 4 times 14. All right, so all I did is I took that LCD, I put it here, here, and here. Now, on the left side, 4 times negative 2, that's a negative 8. This is strictly less than. These 4's cancel, that's why we did it, and you're left with this 2m plus 6. And then less than or equal to, now 4 times 14 is 56. A couple things left to do. We're going to subtract 6. All right, so subtract 6 from all 3 parts. Negative 8 minus 6, negative 14, less than 2m, less than, where I'm subtracting 6, less than or equal to 50. Divide by 2, alert. All right, we're dividing by a positive, so no problems, no changes in the signs. Negative 14 divided by 2 is negative 7, less than m, less than or equal to 50 divided by 2 is 25. Okay, that's the inequality form. So write it in interval form. Now interval form, remember, we go low, comma, high. All right, so the low is negative 7, comma, the high is 25. Now, the 7 is not included. So open parentheses around there, and the 25 got an equal sign, so that is included. So square bracket. All right, so that's what we're looking for. And then we can graph it. Where are we going? There's our x's. we're going from negative 7 open, right, open, because I got open parentheses, up to 25, closed, closed because I have that square bracket which indicates the 25 is included, and then everything inside, so negative 7 to 25.